Welcome to the Coaches Preview Show. I'm Darrin, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director, and we're excited today to talk to the basketball coaches from Brentwood and Ravenwood High School, getting ready for tonight's WCTV Game of the Week, installment number 1 of the Battle of the Woods. We're going to start out talking to our girls coaches, Coach Myles Thrash from Brentwood, Andrew James from Ravenwood. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Tonight's obviously a big district matchup, and I still say the great rivalries, not only in Middle Tennessee, but just Tennessee in general. Just a great, no matter what's going on. It could be checkers, chess, tiddlywinks, whatever that is. Folks would be excited about Ravenwood versus Brentwood. Coach Thrash, fourth year coach of Brentwood High School. Last year ended obviously in a very exciting way for you guys, state quarterfinals trip to Murfreesboro. But regardless, even playing those big games, this has to feel as special as anything, this Battle of the Woods.
Yes, it does, man. It's a great game to be a part of for our kids and our school staff and everybody. It's just exciting time.
Coach James, you're in year 2 as head coach of the Lady Raptors. Obviously, you've been at the school for a while, helping out as an assistant coach before you took over as the head coach. Last year, we had this same show for this same game, and we were talking about, I went back and looked at my notes, and we were talking about, hey, now you're going to be in the big chair for the Battle of the Woods. I wonder what that's going to be like. You've now experienced it a couple of times. Tell me about this rivalry and how you maybe have seen it a little bit different as the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting, and, you know, our girls obviously are very excited about that game. You know, we understand it's a big deal with the community, so we make sure that we're ready to go and give the best effort we can. But yes, it's definitely different, and you feel, you feel all those eyeballs on you, and that making sure that there's added pressure to it, I guess. But that's something that we try to embrace that, and because it's a great tournament atmosphere. It's a game that really gets you ready for the postseason, because that's how the games are going to be. So we kind of look at it as for us to get better and to learn more about ourselves and to continue to improve.
Coaches, let me ask you this. I asked the Coach Daniels and Coach Crawford this too when I had one earlier, because there's a little bit of a split on what people think. And here's why I first noticed this. In football, there's this wood trophy that goes back and forth based on who wins, made out of wood. And I noticed on there it says it's the Battle of the Wood. But now we also always say it's the Battle of the Woods with an S. Coach Thrash, which one is it?
I'm big on the Woods with the S, because we both are Brentwoods, and Ravenwoods. So I'm with the S. That's the way I see it, and that's how I came into it. Part of this rivalry. So I see the S part of it.
Coach James, what do you think?
Well, I had no idea it said Battle of the Wood on the trophy, so I always thought it was Battle of the Wood. So that's the way I look at it as well.
Yeah.
Well, that seems to be the overwhelming what people say and think. I can't wait to ask Coach Whitlock, because he would have been here when this thing started. I got a feeling it started out as Wood, because both schools are in Brentwood, and it kind of grew into Woods after that. But again, I'm looking forward to asking Coach Whitlock. I know he'll have an opinion about it and probably have some information there. All right, let's talk about something maybe a little bit more about tonight's game. So Brentwood, you guys are off to a 10-3 start, 2-1 in the district, with a non-district win on Tuesday over Nolensville. Mm-hmm. Coach Thrash, you had that tournament over the break. It seems like to me your team is really starting to gel.
Yeah, we're starting to gel, and the more games we get underneath us, we'll start to gel a little bit, because this is a different team. Of course, very different team from last year. We got some different pieces, and we got people playing different roles this year. So gelling is a big key for what we need to do to be successful this year.
And last year, I know we talked a lot about the big three, Delaney, Emily Truschel, and Amelia Osgood. Obviously, the Trucial's now gone playing at the next level. Coach, in my opinion, you've got the best player in the league. And I think you had the best player in the league last year, to be honest with you. No disrespect to, anyone else, but I think that much of Amelia Osgood. Talk about her and what she means to your team.
Well, she means everything to this team. Actually, at Tuesday night, she became Brentwood's all-time leading scorer for Brentwood High. And that's an amazing accomplishment for anybody to do that at any school, at any level. So, she means just that much for us. You can't talk about this team without even mentioning her and thinking about ways to try to take her out of the game as far as playing goes. But as a person, though, she's awesome. One of the smarter kids, by her going to Princeton and being a Princeton commit, that says a lot about it as well academically and what she is. And, it's just a big tribute to her family and the time they put in to get her where she is.
You have some other seniors, Coach, that have really stepped up and have some experience. Kate Workman, Sophie Roston, Chloe Wampler, and then also pretty nice addition there with Sydney Ryan. So obviously people have different roles, even though 4 of those young ladies had a lot of experience from last year. But now you add another piece who's a nice player. But based on that, it seems to me, again, you are playing well, and I think your best basketball is still out in front of you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. Our best ball is ahead of us, and I would say that for probably most of the schools in the district. Everybody just want to be able to get some game time because usually around this time, we all probably played about maybe 20 games if you're counting preseason coming throughout the summer, and you would kind of have an idea or an identity of what your team would look like. So with us being where we are in these times, it's not that way. So it's in a daily grind. So yeah.
Ravenwood, Coach James, you guys, tough loss Tuesday night at Page, 64-52, a really good Page team. Obviously, they're one of the top teams in the league. Your team is now 8-4, 3-2 in district play. To me, your team, Coach, was one that really played well at the end of last year. You were new there in terms of being the head coach, not new, obviously, to the school and with the team. But let's face it, it's a little bit different when you're the voice that leads the team. So I feel like, and again, me watching from a distance, they got used to you, you got used to them. And it seems to me that has really carried over this year. And you're really one of the top teams in the league as well.
Yeah, it has. I mean, we've got a lot of people that are returning this year. So that's really helped. We're kind of dealing with a little bit of a different mindset this year as opposed to last year because we're not going to be able to sneak up on anyone. People are really prepared for us. We got off to a good start this year. And we've lost a few games, played some really good teams. I thought Tuesday night our effort was really good. We just kind of had some bad breaks, and Paige played really, really well. I think, basketball is a tournament sport, and as much as you hate to lose games like that, our goal is to continue to get better. So in February, we're able to play our best ball and kind of form our identity and things like that and exactly what we want to do. So we're still kind of working through that, but I got a great group of girls that are really working hard to be the best team that we can be. I mean, we got 7 seniors, so our leadership's been really good. So, the little adversity we faced recently, I have full faith that we're going to continue to push through and continue to find ways to get better.
Coach, you really can't talk about Ravenwood girls basketball and not talk about Lexi Erickson. The way I would describe her, she's like the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak, for Ravenwood. And she's also a young lady. I'm guessing that the other coaches in the league are saying, is she ever going to graduate? Like she's been there 27 years. So talk about Lexi and what she means to your team.
Well, that's how I feel about Amelia Osgood. I'm ready for her to go ahead and graduate and watch her at Princeton. But she's a true leader for us. And, she's obviously just been a great representation for our program, and I feel pretty good. I think she's going to get to 1,000 points by the end of the year, so that's really exciting too. Yeah, her and obviously Reagan Grimes have been, our go-to players, and their work ethic and their leadership on our team has really taken us to another level. They're our loudest talkers on the floor, and they work really hard and just continue to make plays. So yeah, I'm blessed to have both of them on our team, and just the leadership and the hard work they bring to our team has really helped us out a lot.
Let's talk a little bit about the district. I think, with the girls' league, much like the boys, there's a lot of teams you look and say, well, they can compete with anybody. Obviously, you guys are two of those teams. Page High School is obviously one of those teams, Summit. And then you've got some teams also like Centennial, Franklin, Spring Hill, all playing better. So the depth in the league seems to be there. Coach Thrash, you guys have only played 3 games so far, so you still have a lot of basketball left to play, a lot of district games left to play. Is that a blessing a little bit with this team that maybe you haven't had to play as many district games yet?
Well, definitely, because how tough this district is, but we look forward to those challenges. But yeah, I think the more games we can get in before we could have really got into that grind of that district play can help you, because it's a grind, especially this year. It's very wide open this year. A lot of really, really good teams. And it's kind of like Coach James said, I think Coach James and I may have the most experienced teams of everyone, with the most seniors. So yeah, that plays a big role in it as well. So yeah, it's a grind.
Coach James, you talked about pointing to that district tournament. If you would share this with us, you guys have goals like we want to make sure we're in the top 2 because that gives us a kind of a preferred seed. You want to make sure you have a home game, although we'll talk about this later as basketball progresses. The way the tournament's going to be set up this year, the better seed is going to host throughout. So talk about some of those district goals that you have as a team.
Yeah, we, right now what we're focusing on is, we've talked about the fact that we want to compete for championships. That's ultimately what we want to do, and that is our goal. But we try not to get caught up too much in those kind of things because we're trying to get better each game. I try not to focus on the big picture stuff as much. We'll talk about it every now and then, but our main goal is show every day, whether it's in practice or the game, and for us to get better. When we play Brentwood tonight, our goal is to be better than what we were in our last game and our last practice. So we try to look at it like that and just try to take it, the whole one game at a time sort of stuff. But yeah, we talked about at the beginning of the year that we feel that we have a chance to compete, but we also know that like every night we have to bring it because there is a lot of parity and there's a lot of good teams in the district. And if we're not ready to go, we're going to have problems. So yeah, that's kind of in our mindset going forward this year.
Gentlemen, we're getting a little bit short on time. Again, we're talking about the Battle of the Woods. Tonight's game, Brentwood travels to Ravenwood. Coach Thrash, give me a couple of keys for your team tonight in order to be successful.
Oh, man, really just come out and compete hard, pay attention to details, stay focused, and then play the way Brentwood is known to play. Play our Brentwood style of basketball and go out and execute. We're playing a very formidable opponent. He's done a tremendous job coming in his second year and getting them to buy into how he needs them to play. And kind of in this district, we all do a really good job of scouting everybody. So there's no secret on who is who. It's just about which team can execute.
Coach James?
Yeah, our goal to come out tonight is obviously to play well defensively. We want to set the tone there. Obviously, we got to a lot of good players that we're going to have to be guarding and be aware of. But, you know, we have to execute and play the way that we need to. And, you know, I talk to my kids a lot about giving relentless effort, and we have to have that every single possession tonight. We can't let up one time. And so that's one of the things that we'll be preaching throughout the game, is make sure that we are giving 100% effort, relentless effort every possession. You know, our mindset is like, great effort can make up for a lot of mistakes that we might make, you know, in other areas. So that's going to be our goal, just really to, you know, also enjoy the moment. This is a big moment. I know it'll be a little bit different this year with the crowd size and everything, but our goal is to come out there and just compete at a high level.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you being here. Looking forward to tonight's game. We'll be back shortly to talk about the Brentwood Ravenwood boys games with Coach Patrick Whitlock and Coach Greg Shirley. Welcome back to the Coaches Preview Show. We're talking about tonight's Battle of the Woods. We've already talked to the girls' coaches. Now we're going to talk to the boys' coaches, Greg Shirley of Brentwood High School, Patrick Whitlock of Ravenwood High School. Hey, I want to start with this question. And you guys may have heard this earlier. I've been asking this a lot. Battle of the Wood or Battle of the Woods with an S? Coach Shirley, go first.
I think I'm going to ask Coach Whitlock that, since he's been around a lot longer than I have. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't Coach Joins brought this up to me, I guess, a couple months ago. I really didn't know that. I think that was honestly just some kind of, you know, grammatical error they made on that trophy early on. I really don't know. I thought about calling, you know, Jack Daniels or Coach Rector to see if they had any insight on that. If I would have known that question was coming up before today, I probably would have done that. But, you know, Brentwood, Ravenwood, it's woods, should be plural. That's the way I see it. And, you know, Coach Shirley's a math guy. I'm a history guy. We're not English guys. So I don't know. We probably need to do a little bit more research on that.
Well, what ended up happening is I was at that football game last year, and I noticed it was a wood-looking trophy, and it had on there Battle of the Woods. So I was thinking maybe at the time that meant you're both in the city of Brentwood is maybe why that's what it was. And I'll say this now, Tate Matthews is adamant it should be Battle of the Wood. Not that he gets a vote.
Definitely not.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about tonight's game and the season. Coach Shirley, great to have you back.
Thank you.
So obviously some hiccups with COVID-19, not only personally, but amongst your team. So you haven't played as many games, but I know you're excited about being back and being ready to go and your team moving forward.
It was definitely a tough run for me personally, health-wise. Definitely a challenge, worst thing I've been through. But man, it's so good to be back with my team. Great group of young men that I'm just looking forward to coaching, and got a lot of games to make up, which is awesome that we get that, that we're able to do that and just didn't lose the games. So great to be back, but it was definitely a tough run.
Coach, you and I talked quite a bit through text and some on the phone over the last month or so. And one of the things you mentioned to me that really stood out, and I can almost see the energy in your face, even though we're on a Zoom here. You talked about that was the first time you had ever missed a game, and it was painful, even though your team played well there against Page High School, came out with a win. You're on NFHS Network, which is something new here in the district, which is a great thing, so you can watch all the games. I know you were proud of the team, but that had to be really, really, really difficult to watch.
Very challenging. My Coach Fedora stepped in and did a great job. Coach Myles actually sat on the bench also and helped, but it was a very good win, but it was very helpful. You know, I felt helpless sitting here when there's something I'd want done that obviously they did it their way and they were successful. So it was a very big win for our program, but very challenging.
Coach Whitlock, your team's off to a fast start, playing really well. You're in year 15 now at Ravenwood. You coach in a lot of games. and a lot of Battle of the Woods games. But talk about, I think it's really special. I had an opportunity and have had an opportunity the last couple of years to watch basketball games and football games and volleyball and soccer. And it has a little bit different of a feel when Brentwood and Ravenwood play.
Yeah, it does. I'll correct you real quick. We were off to a fast start. We had a little bit of a setback the last couple of weeks, and it is what it is. But the Brentwood Ravenwood rivalry is special. There's a mutual respect between the two schools. Anytime you have a school like Brentwood is one of the older schools in Williamson County, and Ravenwood is the one that took away. A lot of kids that live in our zone would have gone to Brentwood if Ravenwood wouldn't have been built. So these kids grow up playing Brentwood plays football, EWA, youth leagues together, going to church together. I mean, Williamson County is growing, but it's still a very tight-knit, small community. So that adds a little bit of flavor to it. But, we're obviously bitter rivals on the court and on the fields, but there is a significant and sincere mutual respect between coaches, players, and administrations that, is really hard to emulate at other places.
Coach Whitlock, your team, I think to some people, a little bit of a surprise with how you started the year, but not to you. You and I talked before the season, and as it got going, I think you knew it was a team that had a chance to maybe be pretty special.
Yeah, we were fortunate to have two kids just kind of show up out of nowhere that have made a pretty significant impact on our program. Ben Bonga transferred in from Chicago, and Noah Clifford came in from California. But even not knowing those kids were coming, I felt pretty good about our team. I felt this was a team that could crack the top 3, top 4 of the district. And adding those two pieces, obviously the expectations have changed a little bit. And they've also changed a little bit this week, to be honest. The district is very interesting this year. We knew Brentwood and Franklin were going to be really, really good because they were returning some good pieces. I think Summit is a little bit of a surprise off to their slow start, but once they get everybody back, they're going to be very formidable. But, we feel confident that if we can correct some things that we haven't done well the last couple of weeks, that we can be a dangerous team too. And, the goal is we're focusing on the outcome and not an overall goal. We just want to grow a little bit each day and try and get better.
Coach Shirley, I was looking this up and doing the math on this tonight. Will end up being you're entering game 8, Ravenwood game 15. So you guys haven't played as many games, 5-2, 1-1 in the district. Tuesday night, big win over Nolensville. Thought your team really played well. Despite that limited number of games, you had to be pleased. Your first game back, coaching, the team really stepped up.
Yeah, we have so much veteran experience. 4 starters back from last year's regular season district champions. Just got 2 football players that are a huge part of our program back from their great run. So yes, I'm very excited about our team. We have a lot of things that we need to improve on. So we're definitely not in final postseason form yet. So my goal is by postseason for us to be the best team we can be. Matter of fact, my goal is for us to be the best team we can be tonight against a very good Ravenwood team. Very impressed with what Ravenwood's doing, but obviously whenever Brentwood Ravenwood shows up, anything can happen. Is always a fun rivalry. That's what I love about it. Coming from Orlando, the rivalries we had, it was just ugly. But I've watched players hug after games. I've watched the fans go back and forth, and afterwards they're all kind of laughing. But obviously we want to do whatever we can to be successful, as I'm sure Coach Whitlock and Ravenwood will be.
Coach Shirley, let me ask you this. I know you mentioned you had a veteran team. You got a lot of games to make up in a short period of time. How do you handle that practice-wise? I mean, obviously that's going to be, you got a lot of games, got to rest the legs maybe a little bit, but what do you do there? I'm sure you've thought about that. I'm curious, playing so many games in a short period of time.
Well, a lot of coaches say practices are tougher than games. So the way I see it, the players have it easy now. They get to play 3 games a week for 4 weeks. Like I said, it's more of getting everybody on the same page, especially defensively, to become the team we can be. Have a lot of young men that shoot the ball extremely well. A little bit different look of a Brentwood team maybe than some of the other Brentwood teams we've had in the past, but they're creating their own identity. So that's what really practice is about, more than overexerting them.
And talk about that veteran group. Winley, obviously a name everybody knows. Griffin Burke, Mason Redner, Jake Brock, just to name a few. Lots of great experience coming back, and I'm sure, like you said, that has to be helpful because you have played those limited number of games. They can draw back on those experiences.
So definitely all 4 of those were starters last year. Dustin Bloom, 6'7" young man, has worked really hard, has made himself a better player. Had a freshman, Daniel Cochran, that's having a tremendous season, that has started every game. Davis White was the backup quarterback, has come in, scored 10 points his first game out against Page. He's really helping us. And Jack Medali and Joseph Hahn. Jack Medali, I thought, was one of the top, if not the top freshman guard in the county last year, shoots the ball well. And Joseph Hahn comes in and also is a contributor.
Coach Whitlock, let's talk Ravenwood. You guys are off to a 9-5, 5-1 in the league start. You suffered your first loss of the district at Page on Tuesday. I know that one hurt, but really, if you take a look at your team, you got to feel fortunate not only to be 5-1, but to have played 6 games at this stage. You have to have a little bit of a sigh of relief, so to speak.
Yeah, getting those games in is important. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know if we're going to have a setback or if other teams are going to have a setback. So, playing those games when you can, I think hopefully that can end up being a little bit of an advantage for us. It's just it's kind of a day-by-day thing. You don't know who you're going to have available. My kids and my parents have been really good about, if a kid isn't feeling well, keeping them home, which I think has given us the opportunity to play those games. We have a lot to work on. Tuesday night was very, very, very frustrating, and we have to move on, obviously, because it's Brentwood and we have our next game coming up. But we've got some things that we hopefully have corrected and can put into play tonight. But yeah, getting off to a 5-0 start and then being 5-1 is important. And it's just important that we don't have to, we can control our own destiny if we can win games. And that's something that typically the last few years, we haven't been in that position. We've kind of been chasing everybody else. So, I like my team. Hopefully I'll like them a lot better about 9:30 tonight, but we'll see.
Coach, going into the season, obviously you talked about those nice additions that you have, but you think Ravenwood basketball, the names like Nick Dang and Connor English, Trevor Andrews come up. But, something that stood out to me in watching you play and then keeping up the games where I'm not there, Pollard and Millette, those guys are playing pretty darn well too. And that bring that toughness maybe from football. They've really played well this year. Yeah,
Lee Millette started for us Tuesday night, which was probably a little bit surprised, but just due to player availability that he came in and played very well. He's a very good athlete. He has totally bought into what we wanted to do. Didn't play much last year, but has stepped up, a very good defender. Myles Pollard is kind of a guy that has had his moments. We're waiting on him to take that next step. He is more than capable. And hopefully, over the next several weeks, he will take that step, and then we've got the usual suspects, Nick Dang, Connor English's availability is kind of up in the air. But Nick is a hard-nosed player that I think a lot of people around the district probably don't like, but he's our guy and we do like him. And, if he'll stop forcing the issue a little bit, that'll be a lot more beneficial for us. So we have a lot of depth. I mean, if you look at our box scores, we're playing 10 or 11 guys, which is quite honestly a little bit of a nightmare sometimes because it's a 32-minute game and it's hard to get a feel for the game and rotation when you're playing that many guys. So that's something, at some point will have to be cut down. But we'll just have to, it's more of a feel thing. We'll just see how it goes.
Hey, Coach Whitlock, if you need me to, I can tell you which ones not to play tonight.
Just send me some notes, Coach. I'll be happy to take some advice from you.
There you go.
See, that's what's great about the league. You got guys always willing to help each other. Coach Shirley stepping up, being willing to help Coach Whitlock. I love that.
True fraternity around here.
Coach Shirley, before the year, I said I thought the title for the district would run through Brentwood, Franklin, and Summit, one of those three based on experience. But with Ravenwood playing so well, Page playing so well, to me, it's shaping up as some kind of district race.
Well, I've been asked that question a couple 100 times. And I always, even before I knew the two young men that moved into Ravenwood, I always put Ravenwood there too. So everybody kept saying Brentwood from what we had coming back. Franklin obviously has their team back. Summit, now that the football players are coming back. But from day one, I've always mentioned Ravenwood. And like you said, that's what the district's so tough. A team like Page or truthfully anybody on a given night could knock somebody off.
Coach Whitlock, I mean, word on the street is that maybe you used some of my predictions as a positive for your team as motivation, saying, look, he's talking like we can't even be in the top three. So is that true? Is that a rumor I heard that might be true, Coach Whitlock? And believe me, that's fine. Whatever it takes to motivate your team, I'm for.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I quoted you verbatim before that Franklin game, and our kids kind of took that personal. But I mean, I think it was what you said was a fair statement. I mean, it's a very balanced top 4 or 5 teams in the league. Franklin, I think, has the most talented starting 1 through 5. Brentwood, though, has been the model of consistency for years. So the district is going to go through those two teams. Brentwood had some unknown pieces kind of coming in to fill that 5th spot this year with losing their big guy. But the kids I've seen on tape that have stepped up, and obviously, haven't been able to follow them as close because they haven't played as many games. But what I saw this week, it's, I wouldn't want to have to pick the winner of the next Franklin Brentwood game because I'm sure that will be a battle. But, we need to go out and do what we can and make it a tough game and give ourselves an opportunity to win. But Coach Shirley's done an amazing job and just a model of consistency. What they do very well. You know what you're going to get, and I think that's just a sign of great coaching because, you know what's going to happen coming into it. And even when you try and adjust, it doesn't always work. So it can be very frustrating.
And Coach Whitlock, if it means anything to you, and I'm sure you won't share this, tell your team that I have actually amended my predictions and put you up there in the top 3 as well. So
I won't bring that up. It's like it's like the documentary on the Bulls that came out this summer where Michael Jordan would just make stuff up. I make stuff up all the time. Like Coach Shirley has been talking trash about our team all week. I've been telling my kids all about it.
All right, we got to wrap up, gentlemen. Obviously, the atmosphere won't quite be the same tonight, but again, doesn't matter. Battle of the Woods is going to be exciting. Coach Shirley, give me some thoughts about some keys tonight for your team.
Got to be able to rebound. We got to be able to play defense. They do such a good job, with the post entry and players cutting, and you have experience, like he was saying, with the point guard back, who's just a tough young man that just attacks you. They just can attack you in so many different ways. And I'm making my scouting report, and like he said, I'm putting my 9th, 10th, 11th player down and what they do well. And we just have to be, like Coach Whitlock said, for us to be ourselves, for us to play Brentwood basketball. It helps when we shoot the ball as well as we did last game. But the key is we need to be able to compete on the defensive end and maybe take a charge from a young man, possibly if he puts the ball on the floor instead of backing away.
Coach Whitlock, what about for Ravenwood?
I mean, it's a similar mindset for us. We did not defend the dribble very well Tuesday night, and it really hurt us. And it's something we've really struggled with. So we've spent a lot of time on that. And, there isn't 2 players in the league I respect more than Griffin Burke and Winley. I know the Winley family real well. My daughter dances with their daughter. So, I mean, it seems like there's just been a Winley at Brentwood for 20w years.
He just adopted 2 more too.
Yeah, great. That's what I want to hear, but I'll be glad when they graduate. But Griffin Burke, tough kid, a winner. Winley's a winner, and we got to contain them off the dribble. And if we don't, they're gonna drive passes, get layups, or kick out and knock down threes. So if we can defend the dribble, then that will give us a chance. If we don't, then it's going to get pretty ugly.
Gentlemen, I appreciate you being here. I know you're busy, and looking forward to tonight's game.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Darrin.
Thank you for joining us for the Coaches Preview Show. We'll see you next time.